What's going on, everyone? Earlier today, we got the official first look per Entertainment of the upcoming Scream 5 film. It was photos of several of the cast members for Scream 5. I shared a video earlier with some of those images, but there are a few that I really wanted to highlight and have a discussion and sort of breakdown of these images because I find them very significant and could give us a little clue for the upcoming Scream 5 film. So I want to have a discussion, so make sure you join it down in the comments below. Before we jump into it, be sure to like this video. Helps me out a lot, lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification so you never miss an upload. Stay up to date with all things Scream. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. Let's get into it. So the first image I wanted to highlight is that of Dewey Riley. Now, just by going off of the image, you can see he doesn't have your typical mustache that he's used to having in these films. He's more filled in with the beard, more rugged looking, more of a guy that's been through some stuff, more of a, grizzly bear type guy. Even if you saw the promos for the Airbnb Stu Macher home, he looked very, almost broken in some ways and just like a different type of Dewey. So I wonder if he will be a more darker Dewey, maybe a more bitter, ruthless Dewey than that we know in the past. But besides that, this image itself, he's clearly looking up at something. And there's many rumors suggesting of a tape. Now, we know Martha Meeks, Randy's sister, is in this film. And the rumor was that there was 2 films recorded, or videos recorded by Randy in Scream 3. And that they both were extremely significant and they were supposed to both be in the film, but they ended up saving one of the other ones and we got the one that we got in Scream 3. So what if this image is of Martha Meeks' house and Dewey is watching a tape from Randy sort of diving into this information today? I mean, it would make sense that Martha, his sister, would have a lot of these archived things or just little mementos of Randy. So it could very well be the case that all of the killings are going on and Dewey is sitting there watching this tape as he's investigating the murders and the killings. It could also very well be that he's sitting there watching footage or tapes or anything. There's also the rumor of potential Gail's footage from the first party in Scream, the camera that she snuck in front of the TV. Now, that could very well be the case as well. It just appears that Dewey is watching. It could be a conversation. Yes, perhaps he's just watching who he's talking to and just really taking it in and listening. But this photo, to me, sort of looks like he's engaged in an actual video or something along those lines. Could it be evidence and he's trying to dissect it? It could be. There are many different things, but I find this photo very significant compared to many of the others that we have gotten. Now, another huge one that I think is significant and important, this scene of Tara Carpenter, Jenna Ortega's character. It's clearly a throwback to 96, Casey Becker, Drew Barrymore's character. She's on the phone, lollygagging, having a good time, and just playing with the knife set in the center of the kitchen. Again, huge throwback to the classic 96. But now, is this the opening scene? There's been tons of rumors, speculation, nobody knows for certain, but the rumor is that Jenna Ortega will have a significant part in the final scene, whether she lives, whether she dies, whatever that may be. But this photo really alludes to that she will be in the opening scene because it is a direct homage to the classic 96 with Casey Becker again, and that was the opening scene. And Jenna Ortega, much like Drew Barrymore, has been petitioned and sort of propped up as the final girl going forward, as the new transition character that this film will center around. Now, it's very possible that she won't be that maybe she'll just be a main fixed character in this film, and maybe her sister or somebody else will actually carry on as the final girl. That doesn't mean that Tara will live or die. That we don't know for certain, but it really sort of points to that whole theory that, hey, she is the opening scene, and with the reference and everything played into it, it's very likely that that could be the case. And again, just because she was positioned to be the final girl doesn't mean she will be. Drew Barrymore, everyone thought 100% that she was going to be the Sydney role in the classic. It turns out that that wasn't the case. We could be seeing the same thing. They've already said that there will be a lot of homage, a lot of throwback to the classic 96, and I think this is a photo that highlights that. So I'm curious to see how this all plays out. The next image I wanted to highlight here is that of Sydney and Gail. I mean, obviously, they are the legacy characters. They are the OG characters. They are also Gail and Sydney, the final girls. Sydney has evolved and morphed into Scream in many ways. And though this image at first glance doesn't seem to give a lot away, there is a lot of information in this. First off, it appears that they are working together, and that would be wonderful to finally see that dynamic duo working together to solve this Ghostface crime. We haven't really gotten a lot of that Sydney and Gail relationship in the Scream franchise. It's been wonderful to see their sort of transgression and evolution character-wise and even friendship-wise. I don't really know if you could call them, best friends or friends, something along those lines, but they definitely have that bond with each other and that connection that'll live on forever. So this looks like they are actually working together to solve whatever the case may be, and I find that very significant because it brings me to my next point. There's many rumors that Dewey may die in this film. That's kind of the consensus. Most of us assume that he is gone. They are both wearing the same necklace. I need to do a deep dive video into that. Many of you have requested that, and I'm definitely planning on it. Just had a ton of Scream information. But when it comes to that, it would make sense that they would both, one, team up together and be wearing a sort of memorial type necklace for Dewey if he were to die in this film. Because Gail wouldn't have Dewey, Sydney wouldn't have Dewey to sort of work with in order to solve this crime. It would explain why Sydney would return to Woodsboro. Something that significant is very important and is needed to sort of fit the puzzle piece that is Sydney into this film. And the other point is, if you look at Gail, it doesn't appear that she's wearing a ring. Now, there are rumors that Gail and Dewey are separated in Scream 5. That could also play into Dewey's sort of rugged look, sort of change in his character, because maybe he's sort of bitter over the divorce. Gail, though the image itself is kind of hard to tell her hand, but it appears that her left hand is indeed pretty visible, and you don't see a ring on it. You would think that you'd be able to see her ring on her hand. Again, not saying that that is the case. Very well, she could have a ring. Again, not the best image for her hand itself, but I do feel like this photo itself is very significant because that shows that these two are clearly working together for whatever reason. I mean, Gail obviously is the reporter who has always sort of solved these crimes. Sydney is now a writer in and of herself, so maybe, they finally did say, hey, let's do this, let's solve this together, write a book about it. Who knows? That was kind of a joke in the extended version of Scream 4. If you've seen that, Dewey sort of tells Gail and Sydney, hey, you guys should team up and write a book together. Maybe that was the case. Maybe they have a good relationship at this point. I really hope that we get to see that sort of take place in that dynamic. But moving on to the next photo that I think is extremely significant is this one right here. In this image, you see Sam Carpenter, the sister to Tara Carpenter, Melissa Barrera's character, and she is clearly on the phone, door open, looking out towards the camera. But you may notice that this house looks extremely familiar. That's because this home is of Stu Macher. That is correct. This is Stu Macher's home. Now, the rumor, I've even presented the idea here on this channel that perhaps the Carpenters may live in Stu Macher's home now. It's been 25 years since the original attack at that home. It would make sense that that would sort of be the center piece for this Scream 5 film. Every sign in the book right now is all pointing to Stu Macher's home having a key significance in this upcoming film. Obviously, we've had tons of discussions on this channel if you followed along. Even the Facebook image logo for the official Facebook group of Scream has a reference to Stu Macher's home. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. But I think this is extremely significant because it seems to be they're positioning Stu Macher's home to be the centerpiece for this film. Whether the Carpenters live there or not, that is yet to be seen. But clearly, it's going to have a significant point. It could be maybe that is sort of the end scene like the original. Maybe something is used to sort of draw everyone back to this home in order to, relay the final act, to act out the final act. And that would make a lot of sense as well. Two last images that I felt really deserve some highlight. I mean, I could go through them all, but again, I just wanted to cover sort of these key, extremely important images. And this next one is of Ghostface. As you can see here, Ghostface is in a hospital. It appears she is looking down, possibly at a victim. Now, the rumor is that the opening scene, the character actually survives, whether it's Tara, whether it's whoever. If that is the case, maybe this is a scene of Ghostface going in to finish the job. I mean, that could make a ton of sense. Obviously, if say Tara is attacked, and she is the opening scene attack. Again, the image we saw earlier highlights the potential. If she is the opening scene attack, it would make sense that Ghostface would want to finish the job, and it's very likely that Tara would spend a good amount of time in this film in the hospital, and thus Ghostface would make a return in order to sort of go in and get the job done. It's nothing really too major. It's just a nice little glimpse of Ghostface. But I do feel like this could be a significant sign for this film. Again, that Tara, if she survives, would be in the hospital. And the hospital itself could be a sort of center point as well for this film. I would imagine there could be very many significant scenes in the hospital if, again, that is the case. But there's clearly something to do with the hospital because Ghostface is, again, inside the hospital. Now, I wanted to talk about this Judy photo here. And not because, again, it gives away too much. It's just Judy in normal clothes. Looks like she just came back from a run or something. Maybe she walked into her home and heard a noise, grabs her knife, and goes to investigate. I mean, that would make a lot of sense, especially if she's the deputy or sheriff. You'd think she would grab her gun. But if she's just coming in from a run, a jog, it's the middle of the day, clearly, because you can see the sun, it would make sense that she wouldn't just be running with her gun in her pocket. So she grabs the closest thing to her. It's a knife, goes and investigates. Now, this scene could be nothing. It could be, just a red herring scene where maybe it's her. This is the time when Wes first comes in. Many people think that Wes is her son, but we don't know that for sure. It could be a cousin, a relative, whatever. And what if this is the scene in which he shows up and she's not expecting him, or she was expecting him later, and maybe he's rummaging through the fridge or something, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I could easily see this scene as just a sort of, like high tension but no result scene, especially given that it's broad daylight. We've seen with the past films, broad daylight Ghostface don't really mesh well. It's usually in the dark of night in which this happens. But if this is a actual attack during the day, that is pretty significant because we haven't really had something along those lines of Ghostface actively attacking someone or making a kill in broad daylight. So it's something that I really felt deserved to be highlighted. But outside of that, like I was even looking at this, seeing if we could see a shadow or something that could maybe indicate exactly what that scene is. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to find anything in that imagery. But if you saw something, please let me know. And then just a quick little touch. We don't need to go in depth into it, but there are several photos here that appear to be like a hangout spot. I mean, all of these people are supposed to be teenagers, so I don't assume it's a bar. Maybe it's just like the high school spot, like a little, clubhouse meetup type thing where all these characters go to hang out, because there are several images of various characters in that same sort of spot, in this same location. Granted, could it all be the same scene? Absolutely, of course. It could very well just be, maybe that's just one scene in which all these characters are interacting, but it could very well play another key point in this film going forward as a sort of like hangout spot and a place for everybody to sort of meet up and gather to dissect what is going on. But anyway, I just wanted to do this quick breakdown and go over these, highlight these images, because I felt like they were very significant and told a lot. Obviously, we're getting the trailer tomorrow, so that's an extremely big deal. I will definitely have the trailer here on this channel. We'll do a breakdown, we'll do a discussion, all that stuff. We'll probably have several videos surrounding the trailer, so look forward to those. Again, be sure to like this video. It helps me out a lot, lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Join the discussion down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Do you buy any of these theories, any of these ideas? Is there anything else that you noticed that maybe I did not? I'd love to hear down in the comments below. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel, followed by the bell notification so you never miss an upload. Stay up to date with all things Scream. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. And I will see you all in the next one. Thank you.